Our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described that there will be one time when a woman can walk from Sana'a to Hyderabad without fearing anyone but Allah. Dear friends, this is our benchmark for Jamaat Islami, providing a clear and protective world for women. Guided by faith, these are the 4 areas that we will ensure: access, choice, participation, and protection. Let's see them in a bit detail. First, we need access. Most of the time, women are unable to be in action or have development because they don't have proper action. Let's think about education. If most of the women today are not getting what they want because there is financial burden, in a country like Bangladesh, if a family have to choose to go ahead and educate between 2 children, they will obviously choose the men because traditionally they are the breadwinners. So what are the problem? Okay. Our policy wants stipend programs for women with merit-based so that they don't have to think about education without financial burdens. Another problem that women face in Bangladesh is high dropout ratio. Only 20 to 30% women actually graduated from their enrollment. Why? When they get married, there are other familial problems, security issues, and etc. So high dropout rate is a real problem in Bangladesh. Our policy wants to address that. They will coordinate motivation and other facilitate problems to prevent that. Other than that, we are also introducing tuition-free undergraduate education for public sector universities for low-income girls. So now that's for intermediate. We want to expand it until undergraduation. In healthcare, see, so many times what we have seen that if there is a case of woman, she's in labor, or a child who is acutely ill, the first thing that they do is go to Dhaka. And how many we have seen cases where a woman in labor have died on the road because there was no nearby health facilities. We need to address that. In healthcare, there should be health center in every jela, in every rural corner of Bangladesh, so to make sure girls get their needed and emergency care, as well as we need public sanitation. See, I grew up in Bangladesh, and most of the women here can agree with me, we don't drink or eat in fear that we have to go to public toilets, okay? So that's a real fear. So we need to ensure that public sanitations are in standardized form so women have access to transportation freely. Finally, childcare. We promote governance-financed childcare so that if women wants to go out, women want to pursue their career and education, their children are taken care of. Or simply if they want a break from their child caring, they can do so. Finally, politics. National institutions have already given certain quotas for us, but we see these not have been implemented. Through Jamaat Islami, our policies strongly recommend fair party nomination process in politics. Let's go to the choice. Okay, why does choice matter? See, one of the essential thing about freedom in political science is that you are free to choose. If you are not given any choice and you have been dictated to do one thing, that is not freedom. For women, choice is essential in their action. First of all, for education, we need to have a flexible lifelong learning and re-entry pathway. Again, we have said that in Bangladesh, women has a higher degree of dropouts. Most of them, after they are done with childcare, after they are done with other familial work, they want to come back, but the system is very tough for them. We need to make sure anytime they want to come back and re-enter in education, they can do that. In healthcare, again, as we have already said in the access, that there have to be a decentralized primary healthcare sector. Another problem with today's healthcare for women is that, it is a very tedious work. They have to go to the doctor, wait a longer queue, and different problems like that. So in that case, what we see that women, if they have small issues, they just don't want to go to the doctor. And in Bangladesh, we as a woman, we say, we learn to pet our problem until it becomes bigger. That's why it is important to have one kind of facility where they can go and have their small problems checked out. That is where digital Bangladeshis come. Please, I'm sorry for using that word. Anyway, digital Bangladesh is a Bangladesh for all of us, and here digital health and telemedicine should be available especially for women so they can have their health checked within the comfort of their home. Here, another problem we have is we have traditional midwives who are essential, especially for women in rural areas. In developed countries, midwives are professionally acknowledged and skilled. But here, since we are not giving them professional acknowledgement, they have their independent practice, and we see a lot of more neonatal cases, neonatal death cases because of it. So our policy says we will be giving skilled midwives professional recognition. In employment, we will be also increasing the digital economy. 57% freelancers are girls in Bangladesh. So this is an important sector where we will be giving further care. Again, childcare should be available so that they can choose they want to take the care or not. Also, flexible working hour. This one is a heated one, right? But I, as a gender specialist, I have been working with women in Bangladesh, in Malaysia, in Western countries, and we have seen that most of the time, especially mothers, especially people who have other works and home, wants a flexible hour. Those who don't, fine. But we should have the right to choice, and we should have the right to choose if we want to work less or more, and we should never have to choose between balancing our family and work. Let's go to the next one. Participation. Choice is there, but if you're not taking the choice, if you're not participating, what's the issue of it? What's the use of it, right? Let's go to participation. In education, as we have already mentioned in other presentation, more women are enrolling than men. That's a good sign. The problem is it's certain areas, core issues or core subjects like STEM, women are participating less. So that is when we see IT or ICT sectors and we see less women, it has to start from education. If they are not in the education, how are they going to participate in other sectors if they are not educated in that field, right? That's why this policy promotes participation in STEM scholarships. Also in employment, even though there has been quotas and other things that has increased employment, we still see a lack of decision making and leadership roles of women. This policy implements and highly recommends decisionship and leadership positions for women in companies. In agriculture, 58% agriculture workers are women. But 76% are informal workers. What does that mean? They are not regarded as laborers. For farmers, most of the time, they are not regarded as farmers because usually farmers are thought as men. Through our policy, we want to give recognition to those women as farmers. Why? In that case, they have the legal protection, they can have the property rights and other beneficial schemes that the government produces for farmers. Also for microfinances, we know the higher debtor in microfinances are women. But why are they chosen? They can be discriminated, they can be distorted easily, they can be easily intimidated. That's why our policy wants to recommend that there have to be a responsible microfinance so that women are not exploited through it. Another biggest issue with us for women is the barrier to entry in agricultural firms. They don't have the capital, they don't have people to support. Hence, we propose targeted capital and monitoring. Finally, for politics, we have leadership and training mentoring. This is not something new. Since Jamaat has started working, our second year after Dawa is training for our human resources. And actually, our people, those who are in Bangladesh Jamaat Islami Women Front, have been trained in the field. A lot of people think that we are not in the politics or we are not visible in the politics. But I want to state one interesting fact. last 10 years, everybody knows what happened to us. We are discriminated people, we have been abducted and all, right? Even in that cases, Jamati women have participated in the electoral process. We have 48 vice chairmen, 38 ward commission, and UP member 116 who have participated in the election and won. Those who won at this number, far more has participated, and we will make sure this is further reflected in our national policies. Thank you. Let's go to the final one. Protection. See, as a woman, and our religion also makes sure that we will fly, but we will give, our Kawam will give us the protection so we can fly freely, right? So there cannot be any participation, any choice, or any other development without making sure that we are protected. For healthcare, we should have a proper referral system, and we should also have a gender-sensitive governance. For employment, we should have equal pay for equal work. If we're doing the equal work, we should be paid equally. I want to elaborate a little bit further for this because a lot of the people think it is a tertiary matter. In tertiary, this issue doesn't really is a problem. The real problem is in the primary level where we say hard physical labor. Most of the time, the employers take men, women, because they listen, they work more like we see in the tea areas, the tea workers or those who in the construction areas, they take women because they can exploit and pay less. So this is basically to understand that if you are working equally, you should be paid equally. We should also have an appropriate workplace where our dresses, our ideology, our way of lifestyle should not be hindered and should not be discriminated against. Finally, there should be a support system where we can flourish. For politics, there should be a gender equal policies and zero tolerance for political harassment. Violence against women should not be tolerated under Jamaat Islami's rule, inshallah. For security, we are proposing one-stop crisis center and a survival protection and rehabilitation center. Most of the domestic violence abusers cannot get out of the cycle of abuse because they have nowhere to go. We want to make sure we have a place for them so they can re-assimilate into the society. Judicial accountability is important. Zero tolerance for any policies that have harassment for women. And there have to be a social campaign for awareness. We cannot be protected if people are still negligent about us. We have a he and she movement. We have a movement where property rights about women are highly acknowledged, and we also have other awareness. We need all of us, men, women, everyone together to make sure we have a proper country where we are feeling safe, we have a choice, and we have proper protection. Now the policies are all interesting, but if we don't have an implementation properly, it is of no use. Right, Madhyapu?